Coming back at you with another bead bracelet, the ParaSquare. An easy design made with bead squares and has a similar look to a paracord bracelet. Let's make sure to give this video a like, and I hope you all enjoy this tutorial. Here's a list of everything you need to make the ParaSquaure Bead Bracelet. To make the ParaSquaure bracelet, what you will need is an elastic string. That's string with a bit of stretch to it. Let's start out by measuring 2 feet of string, matching up the ends, and cutting the string in half, giving us 2 1-foot strings, which we will use for later steps. Let's go ahead and set these 2 strings aside for later. Now let's measure out more of our elastic string. What you will need is no more than 6 inches of this elastic string. We will use this string to create the squares of the bracelet. Once you have the 6 inches of string ready for use, you will add 8 beads to the string. As it may seem a little difficult to see, I'm using 2 different colors of beads, both being different shades of green, alternating each color on the string. This will give it a bit of style and help us determine what color will be used for the center of the square. And of course, you are always able to use the color that you desire. Leave a comment below letting me know what colors you choose to use. Once you have all 8 beads on that string, what you will do is tie both ends of string together with a square knot, bringing all of the beads together in a semicircle or square. When you have the string all tied together and the beads are kind of locked in position, you can pop the light green beads or the color of your choosing toward the center. This will give it a more defined shape of a square. Be sure to carefully cut off the tied loose ends of string and you've completed one square. As you can see, the squares of this bracelet are pretty easy to create, but in order to make a bracelet, we will need at least 7 more squares, a total of 8 squares. Let's review the steps once again on making a square. Measure and cut 6 inches of string. Add 8 beads to the string, alternating the 2 colors. Tying both ends of string together with a square knot. Popping the light green beads toward the center, forming the shape of a square. Being sure that your knot is tied tightly and secure before cutting off the loose ends. Once you cut off the loose ends, then you've completed a square. Now, let's go ahead and continue creating the remainder of the squares. As a side note, everyone's wrist sizes are different, so adjust accordingly. Create as many squares as needed to wear around your wrist. As for my wrist, I only need 8 squares. Once you have all of the squares completed, it's time to combine them all together with a line using that 1 foot of elastic string we set aside earlier. If you have a plastic sewing needle, running the string through a number of beads will make things a bit easier, as you can tie the end of the elastic string to the needle. When attaching squares to the string, you will take one end of the string and run it through the first row of beads. That's the 3 beads on the top. When you get the string through the beads, you will run the square toward the end of the string, leaving a little bit of tail to tie with. Adding on the next square is exactly like adding the first one. Run the string through the row of beads, that's the 3 beads on the top of the square. Once you get your string through the square, move the square toward the previous one. Now, just keep repeating the same steps and continue adding the squares to the string until you've attached them all. Once you have all of the squares on the string, this is what it should look like. Now we will use the other 1 foot of elastic string and run it through the bottom rows of the squares. Remember, a plastic sewing needle will work wonders for this part, saving you time. As we did before, run the string through the row of 3 beads on the squares, but this time it will be the bottom row. Continue running the string through all of the bottom rows of each square. As you can see, this part is pretty simple and you should be a bit familiar with this process. Once you have the string through all of the squares, you should have the tail ends on each end looking like this. Take both ends of string on the top and tie them together with a square knot. This will bring the 2 ends of the bracelet together. Be sure the knot is tied tight and secure, ensuring that the bracelet stays together. After tying the first string together, be sure to carefully cut off the tied loose ends of string. Now all that's left is taking both ends of the string from the bottom and tying them together as well with a square knot. This will close the gap between the squares as well. Once you've tied off both ends together, and remembering to carefully cut off the tied loose ends of string, your ParaSquare bead bracelet is now complete. And there it is, a bead bracelet that was simple to make. Hopefully this tutorial was helpful and you can create one just as great. So what did you think about this design? If there's anything you'd like to add, requests, or suggestions, feel free to leave a comment below. And if you're new, or you just haven't already, don't forget you can also subscribe if you want to be notified for more bead tutorials just like this one. So I hope you can join for the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to wear it and share it. Thanks for watching Turbo Beads.